pas assez de sous pour son repas, on peut toujours vendre ses biens ou ses appâts. Si l'on n'a pas assez de sous pour son repas, on peut toujours vendre ses biens ou ses appâts. Si on n'a rien dans l'estomac, c'est naturel, ou on irait six pieds sous terre à coups de pelle. Si on n'a rien dans l'estomac, c'est naturel, ou on irait six pieds sous terre à coups de pelle. Six pieds sous terre à coups de pelle. Six pieds sous terre à coups de pelle. Si l'on n'a pas assez de sous pour son repas, on peut toujours vendre ses biens ou ses appâts. Si l'on n'a pas assez de sous pour son repas, on peut toujours vendre ses biens ou ses appâts. Si on n'a rien dans l'estomac, c'est naturel, ou on irait six pieds sous terre à coups de pelle. Si on n'a rien dans l'estomac, c'est naturel, ou on irait six pieds sous terre à coups de pelle. Six pieds sous terre à coups de pelle. Six pieds sous terre à coups de pelle.
Hello and welcome to another Cooking on a Budget at Bridgend Farmhouse. For people who are new to this cookery show, it is a cookery show run by Bridgend Farmhouse. During lockdown we're not allowed to get into the building, so I've brought some equipment home and we're doing live streaming sessions from home. The next Cooking on a Budget sessions will be run from Bridgend Farmhouse, and we are going to have a series of professional chefs from different countries running those sessions. So today is the last session of the Peruvian on a Budget. So for today I've chosen a dish called tuna saltado de atún, or tuna saute, which is a variation of a very traditional Peruvian dish called saltado de lomo. The thing is that saltado de lomo is made with fillet steak, and fillet steak is very expensive. So as this is a Cooking on a Budget, we are doing it with the humble tin of tuna, which is also very typical in Peru, and it's a dish that's been suggested by my cousins Piero and Omar that live in Belgium, and I've been receiving some tips from them because it's something that I like cooking quite a lot. So our ingredients for today are rice. You know how we always in Peruvian cookery, it's very typical to get rice, and I've done it already a few times, so that's why I've got it here cooking already, so that you don't have to see that. If you want to see how we cook rice in Peru, you can see it in the previous chapters of Peruvian Cooking on a Budget. And we've got, this is like a kind of a stir fry, you know, it is Chinese influenced. Although it is traditional Criollo cooking, it's probably influenced, very probably influenced by the Chinese influence of Peruvian cookery, no? We can see that by the ingredients. One of our, the key flavor ingredient is sillao, or soya sauce. And then we've got onions, tomatoes, the riper the better, because we're going to be cooking them with skin and everything. Here I've got a can of tuna, a wee bit of garlic, and some coriander or parsley. That's optional. I think I've seen more recipes of this dish with parsley, but I'm going to use coriander today. And potatoes, because saltado actually has the stir fry mixed with fried potatoes, fried chips. In Peru we normally get the sauce and mix the chips through the sauce. But I think here in Scotland, I've done this in the past, and that caused outrage, having people eating soggy chips. So I'm going to do it the Scottish style, that would probably have the chips on the side. But in Peruvian style, we mix everything through. So let's get started. I'm going to start by cleaning my table. I'm going to clear this. I'm going to start by putting the chips on. The chips I've got a particular way of making my chips. So I've got some peeled potatoes here. So what I do with the chips is that I first parboil the chips and then I put them in the fryer. And I do that because I just like the texture a bit better. They come out nice and crispy on the outside and nice and moist inside, and so they're really nice chips when you do them this way. And also you can probably cut your chips a little bit thicker if you do them this way, but that's obviously just a question of taste, of choice. So I am using, for chips, I like using rooster potatoes or Maris Piper potatoes. In Peru, there are many different kinds of potatoes. I've heard, around 5,000 different varieties of potato. So in Peru, there are different potatoes. There are so many different varieties in potatoes. I wouldn't know exactly in Peru which is the kind of potato you would use for chips, but there are so many. Potatoes in Peru are very important, are practically a religion. I've heard the story that once one of my aunts was traveling from Cusco to Arequipa, and because she couldn't get the potato she liked in Arequipa, the only thing that she brought in her suitcase on the aeroplane were potatoes. So that would tell me that they really, really value the quality of their potatoes and the type of potatoes they use. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to parboil my chips. So I've got some water here. I'm going to throw the chips to boil. A wee pinch of salt in the water. This water I've already previously warmed up. I boiled it, so this water is hot. Normally, when you boil potatoes, you would cook them from cold water. Normally the rule is that vegetables that grow under the earth you cook from cold water, and vegetables that are below the earth you cook from boiling water. Probably, I guess it's because of the density of the vegetable. In this case, because the chips are quite thin, I don't have that problem of the density and the inside of the potato not cooking by the time the outside is cooked. So I'm just starting with hot water to make this process a bit faster also. I've just also thrown a splash of water in my oil, which that's not very good news, to be honest. Okay, so my potatoes are there parboiling, my oil has water, and my chips and my I'm going to put a wee lid on that oil, just in case. No, I think I will survive. Okay, if you see me on fire, just let me know, please. I'm going to now do the stir fry part. I'm going to start by my onions. The onion I've peeled it, but I left the root. Normally I always do this because depending how I want to cut my onion. This time I'm just going to cut the root off. Okay, let's see, I am using here this onion. It doesn't look very pretty, to be honest. So I don't know if I'm going to get another one. Just going to use what I can. This is cooking on a budget, you know, so as long as you don't poison yourself, you're allowed to just use the bits and pieces that you've got. Okay, so Perucho 666. Hey Eric, ya tengo ganas de saltado. Of course, man, there's always a good time to eat saltado. There is always, any time of the year is great for a saltado. Claro que sí. As you can see today, okay, so the onion, you want to cut fairly thick. It's not a salad, you're going to cook it, so you don't want to cut it too thin. If you cut it too thin, you're going to end up burning it. And you want to cook your onions so that they still have a bit of bite, a wee bit of crunch, you know. You don't want them fully cooked all, there's not all the way through. They need to keep a wee bit of bite when you're eating your saltado. So we're going to cut like that. I'm just using 1 tin of tuna, so this is going to be enough. This is going to be enough. Probably I would say 1 medium onion per person. So this was a big onion. I'm going to make this for 2 people. I think 1 tin of tuna for 2 people it's a good amount. So that's my onions there. And next I'm going to do my tomatoes. Tomatoes, same thing. I'm going to use 3 tomatoes. So what I do, I normally take the inside out. People say that it is poisonous or that it will give you a sore belly. I think this is too little to give you a sore belly, but this is just, let's call it good practice, There is, tomatoes are from the Solanaceae family, and they do have a compound called solanina, I think it is, and it is poisonous, the same as potatoes. You see, when potatoes are going green on the outside, they say they're toxic. So that is because they're producing solanina, or solanine probably. When the potatoes go green, they're toxic, not because of the green is actually chlorophylla, but because they're germinating, they produce more solanine and can give you a sore belly. Bran, hey Bran, how are you doing? Bran is a very good chef here in Edinburgh. Hey Eric, do you know when did you import potatoes from Scotland? When did Peru import potatoes from Scotland? Yes. Well, potatoes are Peruvian, not Scottish, or Irish, or Polish, or Russian. And the tomatoes, by the way, are also Peruvian. The same as pisco for our Chilean friends, just in case, just because there's been some confusion in Chile and they believe that pisco is Chilean. Imagine. Yeah. Talking about, as you can see today, I've put my Peruvian football t-shirt on just to celebrate our last cooking on a budget. I bought this t-shirt when Peru classified for the World Cup. Yeah, I bought it then. You can probably see that the World Cup was before lockdown by the size of my belly, but we'll be working on that because the gyms are opening now, so I think it's good that everyone gets out there and starts doing a bit exercise. Okay, so I'm going to start by doing cooking my saltado. But you know what? I think what I'm going to do, I am going to throw my chips on. I've got my chips here part boiling. They are probably part boiled, means that you don't want your potatoes fully cooked because they will just go into a mash. You want to hydrate them a wee bit more, cook the outside, and when you throw them in the fryer, they will be really nice. I actually like them much more this way. So, but for the sake of time, I am going to now take my chips and I'm going to put them in the fryer. So, I'm going to drain my chips. I'm just going to let the water run out a wee bit. I'm going to bring my frying pan a wee bit closer. This frying pan I've been heating up in advance, so actually I'm just going to keep it on the back just in case, because I've got my back to the frying pan and I wouldn't like to just have an accident. So let's see. Yeah, that's nice and hot. You want to have your frying pan nice and hot to do your chips. Okay. There you go. That's our chips there. Okay. So here in front, we're going to do our saltado. I'm going to put this, I'm going to warm this up. Now, a stir fry, probably there are a couple of tips when you do a saltado, a saute. One thing very important is to have a very hot frying pan. This is, you know, a Chinese technique, like cooking with a wok type of thing. So probably you would want to find your thinnest frying pan. And if you've got gas, just give it as much gas as you can and get your frying pan smoking a wee bit. Because if not, instead of stir frying, what you're going to be is boiling. So you don't want to boil your veg, your whatever you're stir frying. Going to throw in a wee bit of oil. And we're just going to wait for that to warm up. And yeah, when we see it smoking, there's a wee bit of smoke coming out now. We are going to throw our, you know, for this kind of dish, I rather use gas. It's just because you can lift your frying pan and you can continue cooking with it out of the frying pan. So can I ask, what would a vegetarian option? This dish, and what vegetables would you use? For a vegetarian, well, I would probably, I would convert this into a plain stir fry. I would probably use carrots, courgettes, onions, and carrots and peppers. That would make a basic stir fry. And it would be, yeah, I think that's basically when I do a vegetarian version of this kind of stir fry, those are the 4 vegetables that I use. Okay, so going to throw our onions in there. Just give them a wee fry. You don't want to, if you're cooking in this type of cooker or in general with gas, at the beginning you don't want to be moving your frying pan around too much because it will bring the temperature down. So that's working there. Okay, I'm going to throw my tomatoes. You see, I haven't cut the tomatoes very thick because I want the juice to come out from the tomatoes. To throw my tomatoes in there. A wee bit of salt. At this point, you know what? You have to be careful when you're seasoning tuna, because tuna is very salty. So very quickly, you may end up with a salty dish. And on top of this, I'm also adding soya sauce. So I just add a wee pinch of salt, but you need to be very careful with the salt with this dish. Okay, we do a wee. There you go. And we just fry the sauce. Let's check our chips. We're going to give our chips a wee move, see how we're getting on. Okay, I'm going to bring it to the front to, actually, you know what? I don't think I need to do that. I'm going to go back again. I just rather take my time than die trying. So there you go. Very easy. At this point, going to add our soya sauce. Not too much. You don't want to, and I'm going to add my garlic. I've got some, you could use crushed garlic. I just finely chopped it. I'm adding it at this point because if I add the garlic at the start, I'm going to burn it. So that's why I'm throwing it in now. So you can see the juice is coming out from the tomatoes. Okay, there you go. So you probably want your tomatoes well cooked and your onions still crunchy. What I do is that I basically take it off when my onions are the texture I want, and that is just a wee bit of crunch. That's all I want. Okay. There you go. And our chips are doing okay. And that is, let's check our rice. Let's see. The rice is nearly ready also. As I say, if you want to see how we make rice in Peru, just check our other channels, other videos, and you will be able to see there how I make the rice. Okay, so the rice is ready. Now we're just going to bring the chips to the front because we're nearly ready. Okay, so this is done. You know, normally to a saltado you add vinegar. I'm not going to add vinegar to this one because I'm not sure I don't think that tuna and vinegar like are such a good combination, you know. With the beef fillet, it is very nice. Okay, so that's it. Now we're going to finish this with a wee bit of chopped coriander. Okay, I'm going to roughly chop our coriander. You know what? This dish, I am not using any chilies or ají, but you would probably want to throw some spice in here. In fact, no, it's okay. I'm not going to do it. But you can add a little bit of chili paste. In Peru we use ají amarillo, which probably we'll put in this dish. But I don't think we're going to need it for today. So this is our saltado de atún. I'm just going to put this off. Okay. Going to throw this in there. Bueno, pues I hope you've been enjoying those cookery programs. We will be running more of those programs from Bridgend Farmhouse. In the next for the next year, we will be cooking with other chefs from the area. So we will be having Moroccan. We're going to have a Nepali. Probably we will have some Balkan food. So I hope you enjoy. Okay, I think this is my cousin Piero. Yeah, well, there is a you need to be suave with the carbs, of course, always, totally. There are some I think air fryers you can use to control your carb intake also. I think they're quite typical in Colombia, apparently. So yeah, just check it out. Okay, so my chips are a little bit pale, you know. I could continue cooking them for a bit longer. They're getting there. I'm going to take one out and let's see. Well, you know, they're actually cooked, but I like them a little bit more crispy. But they're really nice, actually. They're very nice and fluffy inside. Those rooster potatoes are really nice, you know. And Maris Piper also makes very nice chips, I found. As I say, in Peru, we've got so many different kinds of potatoes. Bran is asking, does this dish reheat well? Can we do a batch and then reheat it at the end of a busy day when you need a quick dinner for the kids? Yes, it does, definitely. Yes, you could cook. I wouldn't freeze it, but I normally, and you know what, the flavors amalgamate a little bit better once you've kept it for a while, and obviously reheat properly. Make sure it's piping hot, and you can definitely, I actually, this is a dish that my cousins suggested I should do. I've done in the past the saltado whenever I can buy some meat, and I have reheated it, you know. I probably would guess that this reheats better than the saltado, the beef one, because I've noticed that when you reheat beef, it's probably going to go a little bit tough. And also when you make this dish with beef, you want to cook your beef just enough so that it's tender, you know, you don't want to overcook it either. So yeah, okay, so those are our chips. They're nice, they're ready. Let's take them off. Just remember to be very careful when you're working with hot oil, especially if there are kids around. It is not nice to get an oil burn, and it is not a nice punishment either. So, going to put them here, and let's get our some nice and crunchy chips. There is nothing better like a nice fried chip, especially if you're from Glasgow, because there is a great tradition here in Scotland. For all the international people who are watching, chips are one of the most sought dishes that you get around here. You know, people here love their chips, and you get really nice potatoes also around here. You know, the cold weather seems to be something that potatoes like, so there's plenty of that around here. Okay, so here are our chips. Here is our saltado. Now I'm going to plate it so that you see how it looks. You could sometimes people get the rice. I'm going to do it. So I'm going to put it in a cup. Probably I haven't got the right cup. Let's use this. Okay, this is a little bit too small, but just so that you get an idea. That's my Tia Carmen. Hello, Tia Carmen. Well, thank you for liking the saltado de atún. It was advised to do this dish by Piero and Omar. So I hope I am doing honor to the dish. Okay, I'm going to serve the rice. I would have liked to do a wee little tower with a cup that looks quite nice. Unfortunately, I don't have the right kind of cup. Let's see if this works. I'm going to... Usually what works well with this is your typical teacup, you know. So I'm going to put some rice here. See? Yeah, this should probably work. You want to tap it. You don't want to tap it too hard because then it's going to be very difficult to take out. Like that. Next, I give it a wee bang, like that. When you do that, be careful you don't chip your dish, because you don't want to get a bit of chip dish in your thing. There you go, very nice. And now we're going to get our saltado de atún. Check that out. Full of color, full of taste. Some chips on the side. As I say, in Peru we would normally mix the chips through, but I know that here in Scotland that would be a sin. So this is the way I'm going to serve it today. You could drink it with a nice glass of juice, beer, whoever likes their beer can have a wee beer with it. And that's the dish. Bueno, so that's been the last of the Peruvian cooking on a budget course classes we're going to do. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so that we can, once we get 100 subscribers, we will be able to customize a little bit better our YouTube channel. And please fill in our feedback form, which will be appearing in the description later on. Our volunteer Chris, who is operating the chat from his home, will be uploading it. And Chris, the saltado de atún is ready for you to come and pick up as soon as we finish the live stream, so please do that. And well, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you everyone for collaborating. That's Nikki. Nikki is a very old friend of mine, live in the Chinese Peruvian cookery fusion. Yes, well, actually this dish is extremely cheap. It's a great way to eat tuna, and it's full of nice vegetables, and it's actually not that high in carb, you know. You've got your potatoes there, but it's a very, very well balanced dish, and that costs peanuts to make, and it's very easy to make. So guys, thank you very much again, and I will be seeing you hopefully at Bridgend. Come and visit us, we're opening, and just keep tuned and check our website. Thank you very much guys, and hasta luego. See you later.